Christmas trees at this time of year. Now, one thing that gets on my nerves a little bit nowadays is this consumer society that we're sort of forced to live in. I completely get sucked into this. I admit, I hold my hands up. I find myself buying things for the sake of it. But I tell you what, it used to be the same old situation with me every year, and because I'm a man that likes my plants, I came up with a great money saving tip, and that was growing my own Christmas tree. Now, I'm not going to mention the retailer involved, but what a lot of these people do now, the supermarkets, is they have this lovely craze of packaging things and getting a quick sale just because of that seasonal sort of situation at the time. And what I was seeing quite a lot was for sort of 30 quid you could buy a little Christmas tree about so high in a pot, you know, nice little package little item, or I'll buy one of them, you know, 25, 30 quid, and they were selling. And what I found was I'd go into the garden centres and, you know, supermarkets sort of like 3rd of January, and they're all sitting there, you know, the ones that got a slight bend in the bark or in the trunk, or, you know, slightly wonky, or some there that just looked like they needed a bit of love and attention. You know, they're selling them for like 4 quid each. You know, I mean, you couldn't give them away. And what I would do is I'd say to them, you know, I'll take a couple of them off your hands, you know, £5, I'll take a couple of them. And what I'd do is I'd pot them on, put them in a decent sized pot, put them somewhere with a bit of light, make sure they had enough water throughout the season, a bit of love. They'd usually sit there for the first season, but I'll tell you what, once they got going, the second year they'd grow up really high. And this one here, 4 years ago, was one of them sad little specimens in the store. And I tell you what, I think this is one of the best things I have actually done to date. I put it in one of these sort of plastic gorilla tubs, the big pot inside. And this with the pot will now reach right to nearly to the top of the house. And I've had a look at the roots, and I've put a slow release fertiliser in it. And because these trees, I mean, this one's a Norway spruce, because they're from a place that can actually go dry for many months, just because the soil around the roots is iced up, and they'll grow in sort of rocky country, they can actually put up with life in a pot, as long as they don't get too dry in summer. You know, you can grow these quite successfully. And I tell you what, every winter I feel completely smug that I have a real live, happy Christmas tree in my house. Me and my wife decorate the tree, and I just love the fact that I have a real live tree that I've saved. I think it's a great thing, and I would recommend you to do that. But you can take this a step further, and you can actually take a cutting of one of these trees and grow it on. So what I intend to do here today is get a pot. I like a sandy, loamy sort of soil. These guys can tolerate, they don't like to be boggy, but they can tolerate a little bit of dry soil, but keep it moist. And I think the best time for this is sort of late autumn time. Get yourself a pot and take a few cuttings. You know, I'll show you a little example of what I mean. Right. Now usually what I do is I get my pot of soil there, so I've got that slight sandy loam there. Get a bit from the base that's not going to affect the tree itself, something that's ugly, something that's rough, because what you've got to remember is if you get that going, right, soak it in water or a bit of hormone rooting powder. If you get that going, that will very quickly start to shoot up and give you something very robust. And if you grow it from the base up as a young one, you're guaranteed to have a very healthy tree. So what I'd do is I'd stick that on the edge there, try and push the soil around it. I've just bunged this in the pot. Try and get it secure in there. Try and get the first inch of it in there and compact that soil. Give it a water and then just leave it. Leave it somewhere light, somewhere it's not going to dry out, somewhere it can just sort of be cold and overwinter in winter time. I have done this a couple of times and it hasn't succeeded, but I've done it another couple of times as well and it has worked. So, you know, it's one of them, it's not 100%, but it's worth giving a go, isn't it? Growing your own Christmas tree. I tell you, when you do stuff like this, if you save something or you grow it from a seed, nothing will ever beat it. I tell you, when you get what you want out of it at the end. That's one of the joys of gardening, nurturing you know, and helping them, just giving things that little bit of what they need to do the work for themselves. Great feeling. So there you go. I'll probably do a little update on this. I'll probably stick a few more cuttings in there. I've said before, I like to put my cuttings around the edge of the pots where the moisture sort of sits. It sort of, you know, as the roots, if they do start to develop, they'll have that nice straight somewhere to put their roots and get a bit of moisture straight away without having to fight the soil. But there you have it. Grow your own Christmas tree. Don't get mugged into paying 80 quid or $80 or how much you've got to pay for a bloody big Christmas tree. They're a little bit of effort, 5 quid for 2 Christmas trees, and I don't spend a bloody penny each year, and I've got that satisfaction of knowing I saved that tree and I grew it myself. Give it a go. Christmas trees, get out there and grow some!